All right, we're back. What are we up to? Part 16. Okay, actually, I'm finishing up part 17. So I got another whole video already sitting in the wings, ready to go for next week. Because I had hoped the first part of 17, I'll be out in the garage painting. So you're going to have to wait till next week to see that. I was hoping to get it into this video, but I was shooting so many little clips, and by the time I got them all together, I looked and I thought, oh man, I got 52 minutes here, plus whatever this takes up. So then me going out into the garage and painting and primering and painting the bridges and other parts, you're going to have to wait till next week. But yeah, I'm moving right along here. It's, you know, by the time you see the next week, which I've already got done now, I only got one more step to go, and that's the whole ass end of this thing. So I think that's about all I got to say. This is a long video, so I'm going to cut this short, and we're just going to jump right on into it. So yeah. Here we go. Let's get on with the movie. All right. I know I've talked about many times jumping ahead and telling you I do that because I want to be able to paint as much as I can at one time. Now, here's why, another reason why I do this. This here is up to step 26, minus this platform. This platform shouldn't be on here yet, and all these little supports for this platform. This ain't supposed to come until later. But this is why I do this. You're supposed to be to this point here, and where's it at? And have the barrel on here and all this and that. Okay, that's step 27, putting this whole carriage, the two of them, on the two bridges and having your gun in there. Alright, and then like I said, you come along up to steps 39 and 40, which is the very last things, and that's when they want you to put this catwalk on and all these supports, this railing, okay, this here catwalk which goes down on the bottom here, okay, we're going to get to this in a minute, and then all these little supports here, let me get one, that go between this catwalk and that catwalk, okay? Now this is all what they want you to do later down the road, around step 40. And if you did that, if you followed their directions, now you would have to, you'd be painting all these little, how many is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 22. 22 supports that are up under here for this catwalk. You'd be painting all them, be painting these two catwalks, you'd be painting this railing, and all these little supports here that go between these two. There's 14 on each side, so there's 28 of these. Now, can you imagine trying to paint 28 of these? How are you going to hold it? You know, so that's why I say, you know, and then once you get it together, you start putting this together. Now you know, you're trying to put painted surfaces to painted surfaces, and I don't like that. So that's why I'm jumping ahead. It's making it a little more difficult on me. It's tougher to handle. It's going to be a little tougher to paint. I have to really take my time. But that's why I jump ahead. That's why I look down the road at the directions and see what's going on. Now there is going to be a couple things I don't think I'm going to put on here. There's a railing that goes up here on the top. Where's it at? Back here in the back, there's a piece sticks out. Okay. And a set of ladders that go down to the back here. You know, a couple little things, yeah, I'm going to have to hold off on. But let me show you this. This here piece right here, this platform. They want you to put this on way later. Okay? There's no pin locations. There's nothing other than I know where it goes because I've already did one. But there's nothing to hold this here for you. And you're supposed to try and glue this on there? There's nothing to hold it, you know? So I'll show you in a minute what I've done and how I put it together. But that's why I go ahead and do some of this now. All right, so let me show you here. Here's the other one. I got the other one complete. All right, that's going to be kind of hard to see in the background here with the other one in the way. But here's the one that's pretty much completed. I still got this railing that goes up on here like that. Or this is the wrong one. This is for the other one. But it goes like that. I still got to get this railing on here yet. But I just did all this. I got this bottom platform on and got these, I don't know, posts or whatever you want to call them. Got them all on. Now you can see why I talk about it. It's going to be a little tough to paint. I'm going to have to get in here. But if I just take my time, I shouldn't have no problems. But it's so much easier. It's still together. It's so much easier to do that now than trying to paint each and every one of these little things by themselves and then come along and try and stick them on there, you know? So that's a couple of reasons why I go ahead and get ahead of the game. All right. I mean, it saved you so much time by doing it this way. You know, you're painting probably 100 small parts. If you added them all up and did it the way they want you to do it, you probably got close to 100 parts you got to paint individually. Where I'm going to get it all done right here. All right, so I'm going to show you how I went ahead and mounted this bottom platform here with no pin locations, no nothing. It's a butt joint. It butts right up against this bottom here. And that's all you got. So I'm going to show you how I done that and how I got some of these little pieces on. And let me tell you something. They don't tell you in the directions. These little things right here. Alright. They don't tell you in the directions that there's two little pins on them. And they're not visible to them. I'm wearing a pair of glasses. And they're not even visible to me. I have to have them bifocals on. And I didn't catch this until about the second or third one that I put on the other one. And I seen that and I thought, ooh, wait a minute. There's two little pins on here, all right? Locator pins. One on the top and one on the bottom, all right? Now those little locator pins, let me get a piece of paper here and show you what I'm talking about. Hold on. And this is what I mean. You got to be careful with some of these parts because they don't explain it. All right, so we're going to imagine that this is what I'm drawing here. Okay, and it's got a spot up here like this and a spot down here like this. This is over exaggeration, but that's what this simulates. All right, now like I said, there's two little locator pins on there, and I didn't notice it at first, but one of the pins is in this location and the other pin is down here on the bottom. Okay? Well, if you put the one that's on the bottom, here it is here, the one here that is at the bottom goes to the bottom, and then the other one will fall right in place up on top, and they will be flush with that catwalk and flush with the bottom of this catwalk. I didn't know that at first. I think I got one of them on here upside down. I can't even tell it, but I do think I got one on there upside down until I realized that. But they don't tell you that in the directions. You just got, like I said, you cannot see them with the human eye. You got to be wearing your bifocals to see them little pins, them locator pins on the back there, and know from trial and error that that's the way they got to go. So in case anybody's building this, the pin that is the closest to the edge, or the bottom, I would say, that's the bottom of these. That's the bottom there. So, but I'm glad I caught it. I think, 2 or 3 I had on there, because what I was trying to do was, once I glued this on, I wanted to hurry up and get a couple of these on there to make sure I got that distance right between the two before this completely set up. And I'll show you how I did it. Like I said, I'm going to get to that point, but the way I did it, it worked right. It worked out. I didn't have to do a whole lot to it. All right, so let me get set up here, and I don't know what I got on that paper. Let me get set up here, and I'll show you how I get this bottom platform on there. All right, hold on. Okay, I'm right back. Okay, I'm trying the wax paper trick, but this doesn't work. This Tamiya glue glues to this wax paper, but I flipped it over. I think there's 2 different sides to this wax paper, so I flipped it over. Let's see what happens the other way. Alright, so I got me a nice flat surface. Now remember, they're wanting you to do this up here on the model, after you got this on it. So what I'm doing is I got a nice flat surface, alright? And you got to watch these 3 notches. They go in a certain spot. Now from doing the other one, I know that this comes right back here to the edge of this part here. How it sweeps down right to that edge. Alright. Now I got it laying there just like that. Now what I want to do is where these little rods go, we'll just call them a rod, where these little rods go up and down on here, I want to make sure I got those in line. Alright, so I can see the little spot there where they go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take this. Let me see, I'm looking at, okay, I see it. Let me get my magnifiers on, because I'm looking at something there that didn't look right, but I see it now. Okay, so I'm going to take this and find one of them locators down there and one up here, and put my square there and seeing that they line up. Okay, and they do. I have to have this right to the very tip. Right about there. And they do. They line right up. Yeah. So I know that that has to be right on the edge of that. Alright. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of my glue and put a little bit of it on here so that it'll hold this. And here's another reason I bought this Badger air gun. spray gun, because it'll help hold that from me pushing it back. Alright, because I got to kind of push on this to push it up against the other one. Alright, I got to get that right on that edge, which is right there. Alright, I see a problem right now. Okay, hold on. I have got to trim this one little part right here because it's hitting that. Let's try that again. Okay, now I'm right up against it, nice and flush. I'm going to put a little bit of glue back here. Get these two to bond together for a few minutes. And while I'm holding that, I'm going to go up here to the front, and I'm pushing down because this wax paper is kind of wrinkled up a little bit. And I'm going to try and get some glue on up here. A little tough to do, got my hand in the way. Hold on. Making sure I'm still lined up. I have to do this left-handed, and I am not left-handed. I am uncoordinated as hell left-handed. Okay, we're going to put a little glue down in there. And I'm just running it on that seam where the two join together. Alright, you can see it's rocking. So I got to make sure this is nice and flush with the table, and this is nice and flush with the table. See, it keeps pushing it. Alright, so I'm going to put you on hold a second while this dries, starts setting up a little bit, and then I'll show you what I do next. Okay, I went ahead off camera and I'm pushing down on this, so I got this flush, and pushing down on this, so I got this flush, and pushing back on it. Alright, and I put a little more glue here and there, but I had to hurry up and move it because it was sticking to this wax paper. So this wax paper trick doesn't work. See it? It's sticking to it. So while I got it right here, and I can see it's crooked, I've got it picked up, but it's holding now. Now I'm going to take and get the bottom of it. Get that seam real good. Run this all the way down that seam. And I can tell it's starting to roll over a little bit, but I'll get it. You can see, I don't know if you can see it, but I can. It's rolling over a little bit. So I want to make sure I got this seam real good. Really can't get in there real good, and I think it's a little bit, it's maybe a nanometer higher than what that other piece is. So the best way to attack it is just from underneath here, all the way down this seam. Alright, now I got that done. I'll lay it down here and give it a little support on this one end here, because it's not exactly flat. That's pretty straight right there. And I'm going to take my angle of the dangle and put it up against the bottom and up against that platform, and it should be on there nice and square with that platform and the base of this unit. Alright. Now this glue, and I can see it's nice and square, nice and straight. So while this glue is setting up, I'm going to hurry up and get me another pair of tweezers out here. I'm going to hurry up and get about 4 of these things on here, so I got my distance set right. So I got to look at this, see where that little locator pin is. And I'll tell you what, they're hard to see. There it is, that's the bottom. Alright, and I'll just put one right down here for now. I hope this is all in view. You probably ain't seeing what I'm doing anyway. My hands and head and everything else is probably in the way. Okay, so don't. Oh, there's why I'm not in the spot up here. There we go. Okay, one's in the top. You get the one down to the bottom. See, I got to pull this down a little bit to line this up. Okay, let me get some glue on there. My finger was stuck to it, so. There it is. Alright, it came out of whack, so I got to pull it down. There we go. There it is. Okay, now let me get some glue on the top one. Now, that gives me my spacing. And that's still real super close. Alright, so we're going to do about 4 of these to get my spacing set, and then I'll go along and do the rest. There's 14 of these to each side. So I got 14 of these to put on. So I won't bore you with this anymore, but this is how I went ahead and did this when you got 2 butt joints going together and no pin locations or nothing. So I want to hurry up and get a couple more of these on so I get these spaced right. Alright, we'll be back in a little bit. Alright, so there it is. Let me get a drink of water while I'm parched. Okay, so there it is. Got both of them complete with both platforms on them, or catwalks, whatever you want to call them. Apparently they gave me 4 extra of these. I needed 28, and there was 4 to a sprue times 8 sprues is 32, and guess what? That came off of sprue A, and sprue A is done. There's 8 of them there. So I just finished up 1 whole set of sprues. There's nothing else on there. Yeehaw! So anyway, they're falling all over the place. Anyway, so now when it comes time to paint, I'm going to have to be careful here because I've got to, this doesn't get any paint. This is the platform I just added. That will be painted, but this will not be painted because this will rest on top of my bridge. Okay? Yeah, this is the right one. Let me see where them slots are. There you go. So I'll be taping off, like I said, I'll be taping off this and then the corresponding part on the bridge. I'll be taping all this off around in here. So I got two good mating surfaces. And then I have to be careful up around here. I'm going to have to tape inside of this thing where the barrel goes. And you probably ask, well, why don't I paint it like this? Well, it's a lot easier to take this off. And the only place I got to hold this thing is right back here when I paint. So it'd be much easier to paint it like this, because I got to get inside of all these, hey, that looks like a guitar fret or whatever you call that. So I got to get inside of all those and, you know, airbrush all that. So it'd be much easier like this. Alright, so we're moving along. I would say these here are probably 98% done. Just a few other little pieces. I got to get these railings on here yet. I'm going to get them on. That'll be the next thing I do. And boy, I hope that doesn't interfere. Let me see. See, this is what I mean. You got to look ahead. Now, that other railing goes up here. There's a little pinhole there and a pinhole there, and that railing goes up and down the steps back here. So this should be out of the way. Yep. I just don't understand, you know, why they don't have you do this now. I guess they're not thinking about you painting this thing, you know. And to me, you know, you do what you want, you know, it's your model. I'm just trying to make it easier on myself when it comes time to painting. Much easier to paint one whole unit than, like I said, probably 75 to 100 smaller units that then you got to stick them all on. So, all right. What time is it? Oh wow, it's after 10 o'clock at night. I really want to get on that spray gun, and I want to get, I can start on this barrel section here. I can start getting this all primered up and paint it and put together. That'll probably be the next thing I do. Get this assembled, because I got to have this assembled to put some of these little, to put it on here and put some of these little pieces that go on here on the back. Okay, there's a couple of these things go on here. So I want to get, I think this is my next step. Get this primered and painted, this barrel. This section of the barrel, I should say. Alright. And I got to debate whether I want to put the breech on and do it or wait until after I do it. I think it'd probably be better just to go ahead and do it as a unit, because that's as far back as we go. There's nothing else goes behind there. So yeah, I'll go ahead and put that on, and we'll see from there. Now this one section of barrel here, I gotta do some research on this. The box art and the color call out sheet shows this being silver all the way up to around here. Okay, and I would imagine, I don't know, did that recoil that far inside that gun, you know, and that's why it's silver. I want to do a little research on the internet and see what if there's any. You know, the thing about the pictures of the real gun is it's all black and white, and it's kind of hard to tell. But yeah, I bought some special paint for that, to do that in a silver. So we're going to have to check that out. I just wish I had a tighter fit on this. There is a spot there where it's catching, and that's pretty solid. Alright, I'm just babbling on now. But I think this is going to be the next step. Get my new airbrush out. and do some primering and painting. Okay, that's it. Alright, I don't know if this is take 2, but take 2. Alright, I just showed you how I burnt up 8 sprues of letter A, and I've still got all this to go yet. Now granted, there's not a lot on some of these. This one here, it's only got 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces on that one. There's only 1 sprue of that. There's a few on that one yet, and that one. I think this one down here, there's 2 sprues of this, and there's a couple parts there, and a couple parts there. There's 4 of these, and the only thing left on there is this one piece right here. So, and I still got this box yet. This is the last section of the build to do. This is all that where they bring up the shells onto the platform, and there's that little control room. So I got all that to go yet. But yeah, I'm well over 1,000 parts on this thing, and I still, you know, I still got a few to go. There's a few pieces on there yet. A few on there. I still got a few to go yet. You know, here we are up to 15 weeks of building, and we still got all that. Alright, we'll be back. Alright, I was getting ready to get my new airbrush out and was going to do a little primering and painting. I got to looking at my filter in my spray booth, and it was getting kind of nasty. Alright, and when I pulled it out, there's actually 2 pieces there. There's this filter, and then there's this secondary filter. So I happened to be over at Lowe's the other day, and I found this. Alright, it's a made by Webb, odor control, trim to fit filter. Okay, and it's this was 20 by 25 by 1 inch thick. Alright, so this is what it came like. I already cut a piece off of here, but this is what it came like. Had this backing, and then had this filter here. Alright, well, this wasn't stuck together or nothing. It just came like that. You can put it together with some clips they give you. So I just took this off, this backing off, got it out of the way, and I got this filter here. You can see that. Alright, and that's right about the same size and thickness as what I had in there. Right there. So I just now cut me a piece off of it, and I'm going to go ahead and stick this in there. I forget what that was. Wasn't that much. A couple bucks maybe at the most. A lot cheaper than trying to send away for some of these things. So I'm going to go ahead and get this stuffed in here, and I'm going to start primering. Okay. You can see that new filter already. It's sucking it in. I've been playing with my new airbrush. Alright, I've got a lot of parts. All the barrel parts are primered. Here's my little thing. Got all these little parts primered. I figured this would be the easiest to practice on first. Alright, with my new airbrush. I got the breech primer. And I got one piece left, and this is kind of hard to hold. There's nowhere to hold this that I'm not going to have to come back and touch it up. So I just grabbed a hold of it right there. So here's what I've been doing. And let me tell you, this thing eats up some paint now. It'll put it out. I think I filled this cup up about 4 times just doing these little parts. But what I've been doing is, how I've been mixing my paint, I've been taking my thinner, putting about 4 or 5 drops down in the bottom of it there, okay? Then I come along and put about 2/3 of a cup, or not 2/3, a third of a cup, probably about a third of a cup or more, almost a half of paint. And then I'll throw in some more thinner. And then what I do is, let me get my brush here. What I do is then I come along and stir it up, okay? There's no measurement for me. I just put it in till I think it looks right. Pull my brush up and watch it drip off the brush, okay? Stir it up a little more. Okay, here it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes. And there is, there's my drip right there, okay? And to me, that's about as thin as I want it. Don't ask me what the ratio is or anything. In the old days, when I used to stir up a big cup of paint for painting cars, that's what we did. We watched it run down the stick to see how thin it was. All right. Now I got my paint in there, and let me tell you, this is as different as night and day between this one and that other airbrush I got. This thing is super so far. So I'll just go over here and I'll spray a little bit out first. Alright, then I just come along, and I'm holding back pretty far because I'm getting a pretty good spray. Alright, just start painting it, or primer in it. Usually I got a glove on, but I took it off. I had to go in the other room a minute. Forgot to put another glove on. And like I said, you got to turn this every way you can to get down into all them little spots. And this is putting out some primer now. This is doing a real good job. I really like this airbrush. I can't say enough about it. Now let me see. There's a spot there I missed. Spot here on the end. Put down in there. Down in there. There I missed, there I missed. I get a hold of this thing again. Well, there you go. I think I got it all. Get it out here and look at it. See if you can see what I'm looking at. That's pretty good. Nice even coat. It's nice and shiny now, but it'll dry, it'll dull down. And then I have to stick this in this plastic thing here. And before I did all these parts, I took and I took me a rag, some of this alcohol, and wiped everything down. But then I made the mistake. I laid it on the table here, and it picked up, I think it was this one here. And I just bumped it. Where's it at? Yeah, right there. I got a booger. I'm going to have to wipe that off there. And I need to go over my seam lines again. Showing up a little bit. Let me take a sanding stick to this. I laid that down on the table and it picked up a piece of dirt on there. This is probably only a half hour since I painted this part. go across that seam line. It's kind of showing up a little bit. I'll spray this again. Let me wipe this down with some of this alcohol. Some of this dust off of there. Are you seeing what I'm doing? Alright, let's hit this again. I got probably just enough paint in there to do this. And that's it, out of paint. Yeah, that looks much better. I hope you can hear what I'm saying. I got that fan running. I got the fan down here blowing on my compressor running. Let me find somewhere to put this. Let's go right here. But yeah, I really like that gun. You know, and that was, what was that, about $80 for that. I bought it off of Amazon. If that $80 gun does that good, I wonder what them $200, $250, $300 airbrushes do. Because this thing is super. Like I said, difference of night and day between this thing here and this this Badger, this Patriot 105. And I'm not being paid by them. This is not a gift from them. I paid my hard cash for this. But I am really pleased with that. That's why I've been holding off waiting on all this, because I wanted to get me a decent airbrush to do this. And let me tell you, this is a decent airbrush. Like I said, I can't say enough good stuff about it. I got paint all over me now. Alright, so let me clean up my mess. I did take and go ahead and get these top railings on here. Find my finger. I got this top railing on right here. That one there. I do have another part I want to get on here. That's this piece that goes up on top. But before I do that, I got to wait for this this section of the barrel to dry up real good, so I can make sure this is all going to fit together real good. I want to get this on there also, and maybe that top railing. I'm still contemplating on that, but I think I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. So I want to get a couple more parts on here, and then we're going to let this set up overnight. And then I think I'm moving out to the garage tomorrow. You know, I painted my big barrel, and I forgot to put the end of it in there. So I got to get the end of that barrel in there, glue that in, so I can get it primered. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and clean this gun out. Do some more gluing up. And like I said, tomorrow I think we're moving out to the garage, and we're going to paint them large, or primer them large bridges and these things. We're going to get everything primered up and most likely paint it. Alright? But yeah, I am pleased with that new airbrush. We'll find out tomorrow when I go painting these larger bridges. I started taping off parts that don't need to be painted. Got some tape up here where them gun carriers go. But I don't think I'm going to have any problems the way that thing's spraying. Getting back in here. Front's going to be the hardest, because there's a lot of small parts on there. I'm just going to take my time, and we'll see what happens. Alright, we'll see you later. Be back in a little bit. Alright, this primer's been drying for a little while. I'll put some paint on. Got to shake these bottles up real good. And I got another one here. Get this one shook up. Probably got about a half a bottle in that one. Alright, so here's what I'm doing. Taking my gun, put me just getting the bottom of that cup filled up with some thinner. See, this is my half bottle. This paint's a little thicker than that primer is. We're going to get this, since I'm eating up so much of this stuff, I'm going to do this. I'll fill this up at least halfway. Alright, and I'm going to put some more thinner in there. Don't ask me how much, I'm just dumping it in. Then I'm going to stir it up and look at it. One thing I noticed about this paint, you got to keep it agitated. Every once in a while you got to kind of shake your cup up, because it seems like it wants to separate a little bit, and you'll get a different shade of color coming out. Alright. You see how it drips off. Drip is coming, drip is coming, and there's my drip. Alright, we're going to try this out. Put my cap back on. Alright, let's see. Let's take we'll take this here first. Let's see if you can see it. We're going to go with this first. Alright, and I'm shooting with about 15 pounds of air. So spray out first. Alright, here we go. Coming out real good. Covering real good. I want to get some of these, you know, spots down in here. I'll just barely pull back on the trigger and get me some paint out. I don't know if I told you or not, but I think this comes with a .05 needle. So it's letting a lot of paint out at one time. Alright, like I said, you can see I'm going to agitate that color a little bit. Alright, let's see what we got here. Get down in between there. Now let me take a good look at it. Maybe a little bit more on the end here. Looks like I got it pretty good. Making sure I got them round parts. Alright, looking pretty good, but I'll tell you what. Let's see how it dries. That's a little bit of a different shade there. Let me see if I can get you where you can see it. We'll see how she dries. It's getting closer in some of these little spots where it's drying. We'll see. is my piece of paper here. Alright. Now I had a half a cup there. It's still got pretty much. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and finish these up. I know you don't want to sit here and watch me do all these. We'll see what they turn out to be like. Alright, I'm going to put these on hold. We will be back. Alright, here I am back. Yeah, it's drying down darker. Here's one I just did. Okay, let me see if I can get you away from that. Yeah, this I just did, and this one here was the first one, and it's 3-4 shades darker once it dries down. Okay, which is, let me see here. Let me grab this. Yeah, it's much closer to that now. Had me worried there for a second. I did finish off one bottle. Remember, I bought about, let me see, I think there's 6 in that pack, and I had 8 bottles of this. So I'm started on my second one. But once again, this airbrush just lays this stuff down so flawlessly. That's a nice job right there. And I'm not bragging, it's not me, it's that gun. It's coming out real nice. This one here I have to pay attention to. I gotta hold off on the next 2 barrels. This gets taped off somewhere around here and gets silver. And the same way on the last barrel on the end. Let me put this in here. This one here. Big long one. I believe it gets a little bit of silver down here on the end. So I'm gonna have to check that out. I have to let this primer set up and dry real good, and then I can tape it off where the silver's going to be. Now if I can find out where I got that from. There it goes. Alright. Got me a little run in there. Of course, back in the day when I was in the body shop, that was your signature. That run was your signature. So I'm going to have to let this dry. Right there, right in the front, or on the side. Let this dry up a little bit, give it a little bit of sand, and then reshoot it. Alright. Going on about 7 o'clock. I think I'm going to call it an evening. But, like I said, and I know I keep repeating myself, nice airbrush. Super nice airbrush. Alright, that's it for, I think, tonight. We'll see how we do tomorrow.